Hey my beautiful souls, welcome back to Finding with Jessie, the life coach. I hope everybody has been fabulous. If you're one of those people who have been in a low place, just remember with time everything gets better. So stay in hope, stay in faith, and I promise you this too shall pass. If you're new here, my name is Jessie. I am a life coach, and we do a little bit of everything from getting in alignment from A to Z. So today we are going to be diving into arrogance versus confidence. So this is a big one. And the reason why this video is so important is because if you've been following the latest videos that I put up, we've been talking about narcissism and how to spot a narcissist. And one of the biggest things that narcissists have that they actually, some of them conceal, is arrogance. And a lot of people mistake it for confidence. And they are two, as I always say, very different things. And so today we are going to be speaking about the vibes you get when you are around an arrogant person versus a confident person. Usually it's hard to spot, but you will feel it. Like I tell everybody, you literally need to get into alignment with yourself, your higher self, and be spiritually connected to be able to feel these things. Sometimes you can't always rely on your eyes because, you know, they play tricks on us. And people love to be magicians, right? They like to show us what we think we want to see. And that's usually how they fool us. But what you feel, nah, that's a little bit harder. So today we are going to be talking about those differences. And of course, the video could be great for you if you're looking to advance within yourself, your self-development. So it's a great little check for us to make sure that we are staying in alignment as well, right? Okay, so let's get started. So first things first, when you are around a confident person, like I said, sometimes we see it, or sometimes it could be an illusion. So one thing you'll see a person that looks very confident, that seems very powerful, seems very put together. It's a person that knows where they're going, they know what they want, they know how to get it, right? They're not afraid to back down. They just seem like, wow, this person has it all together. And a lot of people, admire confidence in another. It's a great characteristic trait to have. And other times, it's an illusion. So how do you spot it? Well, you feel it. So one thing I have noticed for myself is when I'm around confident people, it's not very loud. So this is not always a trait that you can depend on. I just want to be very clear. Because people who are more hidden, like covert narcissists, yeah, their arrogance is super covered up. It's very covert. You have to dig there and take off layers to really see that they're underlining what's driving their actions is an underlining sense of arrogancy. So you got to be careful with this one. But I always find with arrogant people, they usually are very loud. You know those people who burst in rooms and it's like, hello, oh, eyes on me, I have arrived, right? And sometimes we do things like that. You might know someone who plays around and acts like that, but it's just for fun. Right? It's just for giggles. I have friends who have done it. I have done it myself, but it's just to get a laugh out. But obviously I don't go around thinking that truly. But if you see people who actually embody this and truly believe it, then that's arrogance, right? So you'll find that they're very loud, like, look at me, all eyes on me, spotlight must be on me, I have arrived, the diva has come, blah, 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 right? You find it's very loud. Confidence, not so much. Confidence is kind of just like chill. Like I said, you feel it. So the vibes you'll feel with arrogant people is like this bigger than grand personality that's just like a bit too much, right? Just like over the top, as if they're faking it, like they're trying too hard. You also notice with arrogant people is that you get this feeling as if they can do no wrong, like they are perfect. They live a perfect life. Like you'll ask them things like, how's your family? And it's like, oh, my family's perfect. Have you ever had an argument with your family or your siblings or your wife? Or no, we never argue. And it's like, right? You might ask them about experiences, or you might share an experience with them and try to relate to them and say, have you ever been there? Have you ever experienced anything like that? And they're like, no, never. I'm always on top of my game. So if they give you the sense like they're always on top of their game, nothing ever goes wrong, the life they live is perfect. It's almost like emotionless. Like they seem like they live a life that's emotionless. Like they don't respond to emotions, or they don't talk about emotions that are like raw, like real, like sadness, depression, having money issues, having relationship issues. Like they usually don't tell you those kind of things. They keep it kind of hidden and secret because they're embarrassed about it. They want you to see them as a perfect person. They want you to see them as a person of leadership, of a person who can't fail, as a person like grand, right? And like almost like superior. Right? That a lot of arrogant people, you notice that they're superior to others, because everybody else is beneath them. These type of feelings are beneath them. These type of problems and issues are beneath them. But when someone is confident, they're not afraid to sit in those feelings. They're not afraid to share. They're not afraid to be vulnerable, right? And once again, you got to be careful with this, because like I mentioned with covert narcissists, a lot of them like to play the victim, but they have a sense of grand arrogance underneath a lot of things. But the way they get their fuel and the way they get their narcissistic supply is by playing victim. But you notice with these people, they'll play victim, but you still feel like a sense of like distance, like they're distant. They're afraid to go all the way deep down there and really talk about their vulnerabilities. They always have like a sense of afraid to feel judged. Like you feel like you're not getting the whole story or the whole side of how they truly feel about something. When people are confident, you don't feel that. They don't have a sense of fear of getting really vulnerable and getting raw and say, yeah, you know, this person broke my heart. This person played me. This person did this. Yeah, I struggled with that. Yeah, I had a relationship that went through this. Yeah, I went through this divorce. Yes, I went through this situation with money problems. Like they're not afraid to be real. So you'll feel that. And the reason why you'll know that they're confident and they're powerful is because truth is power. Truth is power. So you'll feel a sense of power that's coming from a person that's confident. They're very powerful in the way they speak. They're very powerful in the way they move and they make decisions. They don't really second guess themselves because they're moving with power, because they're moving with truth. So that's one way to really determine those vibes, when you feel the difference between someone who is arrogant versus someone who's confident. So when you're around a person who is very arrogant, you notice that their vibe, their feeling that you get from them is that they're very close-minded. You probably experienced this, and majority of the time around the workplace. So someone who's very like narrow-minded with their views, like everything is black and white and there's no gray area, there's like no in between. So you notice that with people who are very arrogant, like they're very like, I'm stuck on this mindset and no one can change my mind. Like they are not movable. They feel like they are not teachable. They feel like there's no room for compromise. There's no room for listening to my perspective. They come off very stubborn and very stoic, as you know, like when they dead set on something, it's just their way or the highway. And we're talking about more perspectives of when you're dealing with another person. When you're dealing with another person, you have to have and hold a space for their perspectives and be able to hear them out and see where they're coming from, right? So that kind of feeling, those kind of vibes you'll get from a person who's very arrogant. And once again, you have to be careful with this, because a person who's very confident within themselves and they're very accurate on a decision that they made, or very accurate on decisions they make for themselves, and they know it's for their highest good and for their best self, they're not going to go back and forth and sway, right? But you'll notice with conversations and things that you speak of, this comes up a lot. Speech is not very invigorating or inspiring. It's all about like, this is the way to do it. It's my way. There's no room for free will. There's no room for your perception. There's no room for me to hear you out. It's just, it is what it is, and that's it kind of deal. That's kind of the vibes you get around from a very arrogant person, right? When you are around a person who's confident, you notice that they're more open, right? They're more open to other people's thinking, other people's perceptions, listening to a person, having a conversation, hearing them out, hearing what they have to say, and then making a decision from there. You get a sense that they're very open, right? They're not a person, they're very open kind of with their views. They might be considered very liberal, right? Like we can see what direction we go with after, I hear your point of view. The confidence feeling that people give off is very playful, very open. They're able to laugh. They're able to feel free. They don't feel like really stiff and rigid and very like conforming, like you must conform, right? Confident people are more like, all right, well, let's see, that might work kind of deal. Like the person is open to different mindsets. It's not their way or the highway. They're willing to compromise. They're willing to sit down with you. They're willing to work it out and say, okay, I stand here, you stand here. Where can we find the middle ground? Let's work together. You'll find that a person that's very confident is willing to work with you, is willing to hear you out, is willing to give you their time, their energy, and say, okay, well, let's stop and let's find out how we can make this better. This is a good one to look out for, especially if you're trying to dodge narcissistic individuals. So you'll find with people who are confident, they have big emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence such as empathy. When you are dealing with someone who is arrogant, you'll notice a lack of emotions and support for other people. They only see their truth, they only see their emotions, they only see their needs, they only see their wants. It's all about me, me, me. There's a sense of selfishness with very arrogant people. But with people who are confident, you notice that they're very empathetic. Like I said, they're open to hearing about another's experience and perspective. It shows they have high levels of emotional intelligence, which also equals a big part of emotional intelligence, which is empathy. So you'll find with a lot of arrogant people, they like to control others. They'll like to control your mindsets, your perceptions, the way you make decisions, what decisions you make for yourself. With confident people, not so much. They might state their opinions. They might state, this is what I believe and this is my knowledge and blah blah blah, but they're not imposing it onto you. They might help you with a situation or give you guidance or advice, but they're not like, you must follow it. And if you don't, then you and I are gonna have an issue, right? Especially if it doesn't impact them. Majority of the time, it's like if, other people's lives don't impact you, all you can do is just share. And if someone sees it the same way that you see it, then great. You help them out. With confident people, it's more about like free will. It's like, okay, well, I stated this and you're free to do what works for you. With people who are arrogant, they get very controlling. They feel very controlling. Once again, that restriction, that vibe that you feel like it's like their way or the highway. Hope that this list has been helpful, especially if you are dealing with narcissistic people. These are the things you want to look out for because they are extremely arrogant. And you want to make sure you're not dealing with someone that's extremely, arrogant, because when you do, it's going to just be impossible to deal with. It's impossible to grow with someone who is not willing to grow. You can't want something for someone that doesn't even want it for themselves. And I will see you in my next one. Smooches. Bye.